Hey, welcome into the Spread, NESN.com's football picks video podcast, where we endeavor every week to pick the winners of the professional football games against the spread. Hence the name, the spread.
That's the goal.
I'm NESN.com's Mike Cole. That's Ricky Doyle. That's Andre Kachaturian. And believe it or not, we are into the middle of January. We are into championship weekend. There are 4 NFL teams left. 2 of them advance to the Super Bowl. Sunday, 2 big games. We'll get into all of that, but before we do, let's look back at last week. Look back at the records.
Yes.
Volatile week.
Let's do that. It was very volatile because of the Saints-Vikings game really shook everything up.
It's a miracle.
We had that game as a Saints being 4.5-point underdogs, which changed a lot between me and Mike, because you went 2-2 because of that touchdown. You picked the Vikings. Because of that, you finished 2-2 on the week, and I finished 1-3 because of that last-second touchdown by Case Keenum. And as a result, you have a 1-game lead on me after the divisional week as we head to the last 3 games of the season.
Crazy.
It's going to go right down to the wire. It's fantastic. I don't even know who you've picked this week. Usually we kind of put it on in our company sharing system. Like we change base camp is what it's called, and we see who everyone has picked. I don't know who you've picked. I don't know who Ricky's picked. Who cares what Ricky's record is? You did 2-2 last week. Good job. You're still dead last place. Number 1 overall pick. You're going to be great next year. Draft Sam Darnold.
Trust the process.
Yeah, that is fantastic. The last 3 games, this will decide who is the king.
I'm excited, I guess. Really, you want to talk about gambling beats or gambling wins or whatever. Yeah. That game went, I think it was 5.5 points at kickoff. So if I'm not mistaken, so they won by 5 because they took the knee instead of the PAT.
Yeah.
If you had Saints, minus 5.5, you would be feeling pretty good about yourself till you realize that they had no intentions of kicking that extra point, and that would end up costing you.
Sportsmanship is what they did.
Yeah, but I guess the way you look at it too is, if Diggs just gets out of bounds there, they're kicking the field goal anyway, so you're not going to cover no matter what. It would have taken.
The Saints would have covered.
No, I'm saying, but like if you had the Vikings, like there was probably a secondary. You're like, oh my God, I'm going to win, and then you realize they weren't going to kick.
That's why it's a miracle, and
Yeah.
Everyone wants to point to me and say, "Oh, the Saints are the yards per play differential kings, and they lost." But I mean, come on, they actually won that game.
Well, no,
it was a bad.
I mean, we can get into this a little bit more when we get to the NFC Championship, but I still feel good about what I said last week, where I said it took some heat here and in the comments for saying that the Vikings would roll in that game. They jump out to a 17-0 lead and have a couple of injuries in the secondary. We'll get to that a little bit later.
I like the Vikings.
I like the
Brees. Poor guy.
I know.
If you want to feel for anybody aside from those people who might have picked. Might have taken the Saints, particularly outright on a 3-team parlay, not to mention any names or anything. But, you got to feel for Drew Brees. It was 18 times he's let a game win, which would have been a game-winning drive, only to have his defense blow it over the course of his career. One of the biggest plays, maybe the entire weekend, maybe the play of the entire weekend, or until that touchdown side, was the 4th down conversion. Brees with an unbelievable throw to that, to Willie Snead running that out route. Oh, what a throw. But just wasn't meant to be.
We'll have to wait until next year to see him shine on the football field.
They're going to be very good next year. That's a team that you kind of look at for Super Bowl futures. I mean, you're not going to get a whole lot of value, but that defense is loaded. They're probably going to continue to retool. And Drew Brees is good. He's a good quarterback. That's what
he's playing this
professional opinion. Before we get into these specific matchups, run through a few odds, some trends here from I know you don't like me bringing up Johnny Oddshark, but here we go.
What are you talking about?
I like Johnny Oddshark.
You gave me a little sass last week about bringing up Johnny Oddshark.
No. I love Johnny Oddshark.
Anyway,
don't put words in my mouth.
Anyway,
he has I gotta mention him in every single comment.
Well, he's got. No. This is the guy's livelihood. I mean. He gives good information. What do you want from me? Maybe you should start listening to Johnny Oddshark information more. Yeah, exactly.
I have his Twitter open all day.
No, but he's got. I mean, this is not necessarily. He didn't unearth anything here, but home team has won the last 8 straight championship round games. So for the last 4 years, the home team has won each game.
Interesting.
Home team's also 7-1 against the spread in those games. And favorites are 7-2 against the spread. The lone dog upset was the Broncos, 2016 over the New England Patriots. So something to keep in mind.
They were home though.
Also,
Broncos were home.
yeah. I don't know why that's on there then, Johnny. What else is there? Or maybe that was the the lone. Who knows?
Well, no, Broncos were underdogs, but they were
right. They were home underdogs. Yeah, that was wild in hindsight. Also, interesting point out. Jeff Legwold says, and this is something to keep in mind. Maybe we should think of this next year. We're making picks as we get into the playoffs. 1, 2, 4, and 5 ranked scoring defenses left. That's incredible. Almost the top 4 scoring defenses. 3 of the last 4 Super Bowl winners have either been number 1 in total scoring, and number 1 in scoring defense or total defense. So.
And this completely flies in the face of the theory that you need a franchise quarterback.
Correct.
To
you do
win the Super Bowl. I don't think it's going to do anything to erase that narrative and the assumption that you do need one, but.
Yeah.
Look at what we're sitting here with.
And this year, flipping the script a little bit. Underdogs 7-1 against the spread so far, 4-4 straight up. And I thought this was interesting. RJ Bell points out, this is crazy. Vegas, they're good. The conference championship game since 1980, the over-under has gone over 35 times. It's gone under 36 times, and it's pushed once. So pretty much right down the middle. So we'll get into over-unders as well for this week. We'll get to that a little bit later.
I hate over-unders.
I do too. They're tough. The over is never dead. Let's start with the Sunday afternoon game, 3:05 p.m. at Gillette Stadium, Foxborough, Massachusetts. New England Patriots making their, the 7th straight AFC Championship appearance. They take on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Wow.
Jaguars coming off of a very convincing and at the same time hold on to your butts win over the Pittsburgh Steelers, a game that actually wasn't as close as the final score indicated, but Steelers made a little run there late. Pretty impressive. Ben Roethlisberger, got a feel for him, made a ton of plays. That just the system there sucks. I think that's kind of thing I've been saying for a while, and it cost Todd Haley his job today as well. So they'll have a new offensive coordinator next week. But like I said, Patriots 9.5-point favorites here. The public is leaning toward the Patriots, as one might expect. Patriots getting 61% of the bets as it stands right now. There's going to be some cold weather. There's snow in New England this week. It's going to be some cold weather into the weekend, but Sunday's actually going to look pretty nice. It'll be about 50 degrees, so I don't think weather's going to play a factor here. Like I said, 9.5-point favorites the Patriots are. Ricky, where do you stand on this one?
All right, so I'm going to take the Patriots with this one. And my initially I looked at that as it's a pretty hefty spread.
Yeah.
Obviously in a conference championship game, but you look at all the trends really pointing in the Patriots' favor. 7 of the last 7 home playoff games, the average margin victory of 18.3. Under Belichick, Patriots 14-0 in the playoffs against teams they didn't face in the regular season. Patriots 6-0 in the last 6 home games this season. Average margin of victory 17.3 points. So those trends all point in the Patriots' favor. But really, I think it just boils down to this. That defense is good. I think we can acknowledge that Jaguars defense. But this Patriots team, so well coached, so experienced, so well prepared each week. I just think they're not gonna hit the home run. They're not gonna try to hit the home run like the Steelers did. I mean, it took 2-3 sensational plays in that game for it to even be close.
Yeah.
But I think the Patriots offensively can pick up 6, 7, 8 yards at a time. Much like you saw, and this is a few people have touched on this week, how Jimmy Garoppolo kind of operated against them for the Niners in that Week 16 game against the Jaguars. So I think that's kind of the blueprint if you're the Patriots. Pick up these, short chunks, rely on the rushing attack on 1st and 2nd down, get yourself into some manageable 3rd downs, maybe negate that pass rush a bit, and also go away from swearing on the air here. And I know the cornerbacks of Jacksonville have obviously top flight. But I think you steer away from him a little bit, a la what you do to Richard Sherman in the Super Bowl.
I thought you said quarterbacks at first. I was like, whoa. Yes, the corners. Sorry, yeah.
CB.
So I just think offensively the Patriots can do enough here.
Okay.
I disagree with you, Ricky. I'm going to take the Jaguars plus 9.5. That's what we have right now. Plus
yeah, we got a 9.5
right
right
now.
now.
Plus 9, I'll take them. Yeah, what's the name of the show called? It's called The Spread. That means we're picking games against the spread.
As we've mentioned at the top.
Yes.
Well, it's important to know because there's a lot of dumb people who can't follow
that. So, Mike, I think last year you introduced me to this interesting way that Vegas sets up the spread number. And they look at yards per play differential.
Yeah.
It's a Mike Cole formula.
I'm the bookmaker.
So they look at the yards per play differentials is what they do. And you introduced this to me. So I'm going to look at the yards per play differentials in this one. And when you do, from the whole season, when you crunch those numbers, I'm not going to go through it right now to bore you to death. It basically should be a pick'em in New England. Jacksonville had a higher yards per play differential than New England. So when you crunch those numbers, it should be the game should be a pick'em, but instead Jacksonville's getting 9.5 points. We'll say, well, Andre, shut up for a second, because since Week 10, New England is number 1 in yards per play differential. Okay, so let's look at the numbers since Week 10. You look at the numbers since week 10, yeah, New England has a higher yards per play differential, but still, you crush the numbers, then New England should still only be a 6.5-point favorite. Jacksonville's getting 9.5 points. That's why I'm taking the Jaguars. And another reason why I'm taking the Jaguars, they're a great pass rush. You look at it, this is a great chart point out by ESPN, as you guys can see right now. When Brady is sacked 0 or 1 times in a game since 2008, he has 85% winning percentage. It's very good. He wins basically when he's not pressured. But when he's sacked more than 4 times a game, that number drops to 62% winning percentage. ESPN crunched these numbers up. I love it. I think Brady's going to get pressured. That offensive line isn't that good. He's going to get hit in the mouth. I think the Jaguars could even win this game, but for sure they'll cover that spread.
The more you dig into this, the more I agree with you, and the more God, am I really going to say this? I think they have a decent chance of winning this game.
I agree.
I do.
I agree.
See, I'm putting a lot of stock into the stage.
Right, yeah. No, I know. I know. And
Tom Coughlin factor. We haven't even talked about that.
You know, I admit that there's these your formula crunching over there might point to how good Jacksonville has been during the regular season this year.
Those numbers include playoff numbers as well.
Okay, and into the 2 games. But they haven't gone into Foxborough yet. This is a whole different animal. I mean, I find it hard to overlook that. You're also just taking a step back from everything. Are we going to completely disregard that 10-point stinker? I mean, yeah, that's including the playoffs, but I mean, look at that. Look at that game. I mean, we're 2 weeks removed from Blake Bortles running for more yards than he threw for. I mean, it is completely plausible that he comes into New England and just completely comes apart at the seams, in which case the Patriots don't just win the game, but they cover the spread pretty easily.
See, I'm not going to sit here and say that the Patriots are going to lose this game. I'm taking the Jags for the points, yes. And I do think there is a slight chance that they win. All things being considered, they probably won't win. But I do think they keep it within the number for a lot of the reasons that you mentioned. I wrote this story on NESN.com last week about the Titans saying, this is how you beat the Patriots in the playoffs, especially at home. It was at home. And, you know, this is, or at least these are the trends in which these are the ways that they've lost.
There's a way to do it,
right? And you have
executing it as
yes, no, and you're right, and that's why I'm not going to sit here and say they win the game, but I think they can do enough of those things, whether it's pressure the quarterback, run the football. They can get turnovers. They're pretty good with, as bad as Blake Bortles looks at times, he doesn't turn the ball over a ton, or at least he hasn't this year. A lot of that's by design. Doug Marrone, you go back to earlier in the season, might have been the preseason or even before preseason began, they asked him, what's the most important thing, or what's important for you guys on offense? And he basically said, we don't want Blake Bortles to throw the football. And that's a little callous, it's harsh, but it makes sense. I got numbers here for you. When Blake Bortles attempts 30 or fewer passes in a game, this season, they are 8-0, including the playoffs. When he throws 30 or more, they're 4-6. They have to come out and be able to run the football. Now, what's going to happen is the Patriots are going to try to make them throw the ball, right? I mean, it's clear. It's the whole Belichick thing. We've heard it for years. They take away what you do best. But still, that Patriots run defense looks susceptible at times this year.
Yeah.
You know, Leonard Fournette, all it takes is one big run from Leonard Fournette here to get within the number. You know, I'm looking at this not necessarily as the Patriots win, or do the Patriots or the Jags win this game. It's can they keep it within that 9-point number? And I think, yes, you get a big play somewhere either on offense or defense that keeps you within it. I also think, you know, the Coughlin thing I think is a little bit overblown. But that being said, this guy knows how to beat the Patriots in the playoffs. He's done it before. He's got notes, I would imagine, things like that. What they do in those Super Bowls, especially in the first one, the Giants batted down balls at the line of scrimmage. Brady mentioned this, and this was in one of the ESPN.com Mike Reese's pieces. Reese's pieces. And one of his stories this week, he harkened back to what Brady said post game. I think it was Super Bowl 42. He said it was like throwing through trees. They got hands up the line of scrimmage. That has to be a focal point for the Jags this week in practice. I went through and looked at this. I looked at the defensive lines for the Jags compared to the defensive lines for the Giants in those 2 Super Bowls. The Jags have a defensive line of an average height of 6'5". They got massive human beings up there.
Just a redwood forest.
Yeah. So just for comparison's sake, the Super Bowl 42 Giants, they had an average height in their defensive line of 6'4". The 46 Giants, it was 6'5". So a defensive line similar in height and stature, arm length, all of that. You know, and again, too, one thing that you can't get carried away with when you're playing the Patriots, you can't blitz Tom Brady. We talked about this last week. I mentioned this even despite my own pick. You know,
Jaguars don't have to blitz.
They don't, and I love this. I saw this at ESPN. Jaguars finished the season second in pressure rate against the quarterback, 33.3%. That means they're pressuring 1 out of every 3 dropbacks. Yeah. They blitz 17.8% of the time, the lowest rate in the entire NFL. They've got talent. It's an elite defense. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game, and I'll take the points if it's a low scoring game.
Jacksonville also 4th fewest receiving yards allowed to tight ends this year, and
see, I don't know about that though. Like,
maybe, but if they're not blitzing, it's an easier time defending.
That's going
to
be interesting. So, what do you do with Gronk if you're the Jaguars? Who do you put up? Because I know, if I'm them, I'm going Jalen Ramsey. He's your best player.
At least in the red zone.
Yeah.
At least when you get down.
Because I don't think Jarrett Jack came in touted as a good passer. Jarrett Jack, the former Georgia Tech star. Miles Jack. Jesus, this is too much work.
Jarrett Jack.
And on defense, coming out of a long meeting.
Yeah.
Long day.
I'm doing with every sport. No, Miles Jack. He was good in coverage in college, hasn't been very good this year. I think if that's the matchup that the Patriots are able to get, this turns into a bloodbath. Because, I don't expect – this is going to feel a lot like that Miami game in terms of an offensive standpoint for the Patriots, where they went a quarter and a half without completing a pass to a wide receiver. The only difference is they didn't have Gronk in that game, and they didn't have a full, healthy host of running backs. But I think they find a way to kind of slow him down a little bit.
See, I think this game is gonna be close. It's gonna feel close for the majority of it. But then I could see a situation where it gets to the Patriots so good with the clock too. Mm-hmm. So if it gets to a situation in the fourth quarter
if it's
where
close at the end, they cover the spread.
That's what I mean. They get down and tight late in the fourth quarter and score to go up 10, go up 14.
Well, that's the one thing about the Patriots too is their 4-minute drives at the end of the game. Always seem to turn into touchdowns too. It's not that they just milk the clock; they end up scoring because that's the best way to continue to milk the clock is to score points.
And one thing to kind of go back to the stage playing a factor, it was kind of interesting too. If you look at as good as Jacksonville's defense has been on the whole, there've been some hiccups here and there this year. And if you look at Football Outsiders, they have a variance column that you can look at, which basically measures consistency across the board. And they're 32nd in that, which isn't a terrible thing.
Right.
Because obviously you're taking into account teams that are consistently bad. I mean, I would rather have them have some variance here and there as opposed to being consistently awful. But I think that just says that there is an element of, they're prone to lay an egg at some point, and then you come into Foxborough, I don't think there's a more daunting situation in the NFL.
They're basically the Adam Dunn of the NFL, either strike out or a home run.
There you go. And so, if they get into a situation where the Patriots are picking up, like I said, these 6, 7, 8-yard chunks, maybe a little frustration builds in. They start to beat themselves, commit some penalties. All this is tough to quantify, but it's kind of storyline driven here.
Jaguars 23rd in this year in terms of most receiving yards allowed to running backs. So they do a really good job in defending running backs, getting receiving yards. They do really
so
good
you're
job
saying that they're
tight ends.
They're the 9th best? Or
ninth best or 10th best.
So they're good at the 23rd most.
Sorry, 23rd fewest receiving yards.
That would be bad.
So 23rd most.
Okay, there you go.
Long story short, they're good at it, and they're also good at defending tight ends. Those are the Patriots' main strengths. They're good at getting to the quarterback.
It depends on what you look at.
Yeah, but that's like Gronk and the running backs. That's how their offense goes. They're not launching deep balls.
No, I'm talking about Jacksonville defending those two positions.
They're good at it. The numbers show they're good at it. And the numbers show that the Patriots' offensive line is probably their biggest weakness on offense, and the Jaguars get to the quarterback. This is a good recipe of success for the Jaguars. I love it. I think they're going to win this game. I might look like an idiot on Monday.
Teams. Jaguars, you're going to have to go back to the Football Outsiders number there, but not a great special teams unit either. In a game like this, that could play a factor.
Yes.
Not going to get into touchbacks and everything.
Yeah.
On the whole, I just think that could be a facet that comes into play here. Also, the Jaguars traveling a lot.
Yeah.
Relatively speaking.
Yeah.
It's their fourth away game, fourth road game in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Patriots, they haven't been on the road in over a month since that Steelers game, week 15.
It'll also be 48 degrees and partly cloudy. I think that bodes well for the Patriots,
To your point, the Jimmy Garoppolo game, Garoppolo was 12 for 12 throwing to running backs and tight ends. So
yeah, but that's a wash for me. You know why?
I know.
Because if the Jaguars had clinched,
they
had nowhere
that
to
game
move
it is being a little bit overblown, I think, this week too.
Yeah, in that Week 17 game against the Titans, Jags had clinched. First time they've ever been in the playoffs in 10 years. They didn't. Probably hung over during those games.
We are coming off of Week 2, Brady. 35 completions, and I think 20 of them were to running backs or tight ends, and then the other 11 of them to Amendola in the slot. And that's a guy you got to look out for in this game.
But the thing, Titans don't defend that well. That's the thing. Titans are one of the worst teams defending that.
But so, I mean, this is a game that you might get that 10-11 catch performance from Amendola because if you commit to the two cornerbacks on the outside locking down Cooks and Hogan.
This is easily the best defense they've played all year.
Yes.
It's fun defense to watch.
One other number I want to get in here real quick. Like I mentioned, the 30 passes one. We're going to look at the running game as well. You can kind of run on the Jags, and this is it all comes down to 100 yards rushing for the Patriots or not. The Jags, when they allow 100 yards or more, 4-6, 8-0 when they keep their opponent to under 100 yards rushing. So I think it's
really
the Patriots.
Dion Lewis and how good he
is. That's the thing.
He jumps off.
You can. It's very easy to tell how this game's going to be won for either team. If it's the Jags are going to run the ball, make a couple big plays on defense. They got to win the turnover battle. Patriots are 16-0 in the playoffs under Belichick when they win the turnover battle. And if the Patriots win, it's going to be because they probably just deploy the hell out of Lewis, Woodhead back. The
recipe for
Gronk's to have a big game as well.
You had mentioned this the other day when we were just talking about it. Is kind of to follow what the Ravens did in that game. Yep. They came in and just dump trucked them early.
Yeah, if you like the Jags,
and they're up 14-0.
If you like the Jags money line, you might want to look at the alternative lines and maybe Jags laying 6.5 points. That's probably even I have no idea. It's probably 5 or 6, 7-1. Because I think if the Jags win, it's going to be relatively one-sided.
Yeah. No. Look, Brady has taken the sack in every.
It's going to be like that Ravens game.
Right. Yeah.
Brady gets sacked a lot, man.
Yeah.
He's taken a sack in every game but 2 in this season. Cool. In that stat, ESPN that I mentioned earlier, I mean, if he's pressured, he's not the same guy. No quarterback is, but especially Brady.
I am far more excited than I should be for a game featuring Tom Brady and Blake Bortles. That seems like
the AFC Championship. You have to be excited. Yeah. Even if it was Dolphins-Bills, you would be excited.
No,
the winner goes to the Super Bowl.
It's a classic case of offense versus defense.
It's a good one.
And I think we're underselling how good the Patriots defense has been a little bit.
They're good. They had 8 sacks last week.
So
I mean,
the Jags do a good job of protecting the quarterback too.
24 sacks allowed. That's the 3rd fewest allowed this year.
I
like the Jags.
I could sit here and talk all day about that game. That's a
numbers. A lot of the numbers point towards the Jags.
Yeah,
and it's crazy when that's the 9.
But it's one of those things. It's been number 18 years or whatever it's been now. It's tough to keep going. It's hard to go against the Patriots. All right, let's go to Sunday night or late Sunday afternoon, regular Sunday afternoon, depending on where you live. This is another, maybe not as interesting, but potentially, I don't know. I don't know. We'll get into this. I like it too, I guess. The Vikings going on the road. We had this originally. I don't know what you guys want to do here. We had it originally as the Vikings laying 3.5 points on the road against the Eagles. Looks like the line is now down to the Vikings being favored by 3. I don't think it really affects my pick. I don't know, whatever you guys want to do.
I love it. I'll take the extra half point.
All right, why don't you start then?
I'm going with the Vikings in this game.
Okay.
Look at this. So obviously, this is going to be a much different game. One obviously centered around both defenses. So for me, look, in terms of run defense, I think these teams are pretty similar. Yep. I think they're both going to be able to slow down the run. So in which case, it comes down to which team's more likely to have success through the air. And I think that's Minnesota. If you're telling me to pick a quarterback of the two, I'd probably take Case Keenum, although you could argue that that's kind of a lesser of 2 evils, although he's been good this year. I just think that, I think the Eagles' secondary is susceptible to be beat, whereas the Vikings, their secondary is playing at an elite level. I think they have the personnel to get it done. So I just think that the Vikings have much more of an opportunity to move the ball offensively than the Eagles do. Because I don't know how the Eagles are going to score, especially in tight. I mean, I think that's really where they miss Carson Wentz, is down in the red zone. His mobility, his ability to come back, scan the area, maybe even run it in there for a touchdown. Nick Foles doesn't have that, so I just think when they get in tight, Vikings more have to put it, take the touchdown rather than the field goal.
Let's go back to St. Louis a couple of years ago when both these guys were teammates, Case Keenum and Nick Foles. Who won the job? These two guys had a quarterback competition. Case Keenum ended up winning the job. Why? Because he's the better quarterback than Nick Foles. And let me tell you something about Case Keenum. He doesn't make mistakes. And you look at the Eagles' yards per play differential since Foles took over as a starter. It's negative 0.6. That's really bad. That's including the playoff win against Atlanta. And meanwhile, the Vikings, since that time, are nearly at 1. So if you crunch the numbers to see who the favorites should be, the Vikings should be 7-point favorites in this game instead of 3-point favorites. That's why I'm taking the Vikings Keenum, 12 touchdowns, 2 picks since week 9. 4th in completion percentage allowed. Nick Foles is going to have a hard time moving the ball against this elite defense. I see a low-scoring game, but at the end of the day, I see the Vikings making a few more plays than the Eagles and covering the spread and going to the Super Bowl, bringing it home. Yeah. I like that hashtag. I hate most team hashtags. Like, I don't like the Patriots one, not done. I don't like it. Yeah. It's weird. I like bring it home. At first, I'm like, this is stupid, but then I realized, they're actually trying to bring it home.
I don't like it in a hashtag.
Yeah, but it's like it's at home. They're trying to bring it home,
like to U.S. I get it. I get the premise. Just saying the optics, it's too short of a word to use in a hashtag. But
this is a tough one. I had some issues with this. I think it's, the total set at 38 right now. So we're looking at a 21-17 game, right in that neighborhood. Who do I feel more confident about getting to that number? The Case Keenum thing is interesting because I think Pro Football Focus had it. He's got, let me just look it up here. He's got the lowest sack rate under pressure. So when he's pressured, he doesn't get sacked a ton. It's wild. He's done a pretty good job moving around in the pocket. He's going to get tested this week. I think he's going to get hit a lot. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, so I should be taking the points. I should take the Eagles here, but I'm going to take the Vikings. It's just it comes down to a lot of what you guys said as it pertains to the quarterback. Who's going to make the play? Who do I feel more confident in? And for me, it's going to be it's Case Keenum because I think the Vikings are going to get pressure on Nick Foles. Assuming the Vikings are healthy, that's a big issue too. They lost a couple guys late in that game. Sendejo is a guy who is a really important player for them. Rhodes has been banged up for a while, it seems. But I just look at this. This is from Pro Football Focus. Nick Foles, when you keep him clean, you got 106.3 passer rating. That's pretty good, right? When you get pressure on him.
Why do you think the Eagles are going to get pressure on him? Because you finished your stat actually.
When they get pressure on Foles, he's got a 23.8 passer rating. So he's it's chasing him around, making him out to make plays.
I don't think the Eagles are going to get pressure on him.
I think they will.
It's not a good enough pass rush.
I think it is. I think it's a pretty good pass rush. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. It all comes down to whether Case Keenum can't get caught in a place where he's running for his life and just chucks the ball up, kind of like he did at one point last week. If the Eagles are going to win this game, they're going to have to, make a big defensive play, and I just don't feel as confident with that defense making a play as I do the Vikings. I do think that they're going to pressure him, but I like him under pressure for like I said, this one stat that I just pointed to. I think that's a big thing as well. And like I said, maybe Keenum's got a better chance of evading that rush at some point and getting away, turning a would-be sack into a first down. Those kind of little things that keep drives alive and things like that. In Minnesota, the red zone defense is so good. The third down defense is incredible. If you win first and second down, and this is a blowout for the Vikings because Nick Foles in third and long, it's not going to happen against a defense that allowed a first down on quarter of its third down attempts this year.
And I think that red zone stat you gave would be with Vikings being so good in the red zone. Right. Completely different scenario if you have Carson Wentz, who's amazing in the red zone this year. But now you have Nick Foles, who's a very incompetent human being. Yep. Well, not a human being. Maybe he's a good guy. Jesus. I'm sure he's a great guy. Incompetent quarterback. And it's a completely different situation. Those touchdowns will turn into field goals. Whereas I think the Vikings, Case Keenum, look, he's not John Elway, but he can turn that into John Elway. We can turn those into touchdowns.
John Elway with the vortex.
Wild stat. I saw this on OddsShark as well. If Carson Wentz was playing this week, they'd be 3.5-point favorites. So that's a 7-point swing with Carson Wentz. And
they should. According to the yards play different, maybe that's what you looked at, actually.
No, I also will mention this real quick. Eagles, nice job last week. And I'm not going to say it, but I said you could see that one coming. Clearly a team that was pissed off, felt disrespected. Got a pretty decent matchup in hindsight. This is a much better defense that they're going up against this week. Philadelphia last week averaged, and this is the thing too, you're not going to beat the Vikings on a deep ball. It's just not going to happen. With Nick Foles, it's not going to happen because Rhodes is going to shut down Jeffrey, and they're just not going to take the chance. They're not going to go downfield. Philly averaged 4.9 yards per throw last week. That's of air. So they're just
that's been a constant theme since Foles took over.
But
I think it was the first throw of the game, and it was just Joe Bucky mentioned it. He was like, "We're already throwing ducks out here."
Yeah, and that probably distorted the whole.
No, not Joe Bucky.
It was Al Michaels.
Whoever was on that.
Yeah, it probably distorted the whole average too by that one throw downfield. So, all right, 4.9 yards per attempt or whatever, or per throw. Not even per not just the actual ball in the air. 4.9 yards. They had 164 yards after the catch. Atlanta, they can't tackle. Stunk at tackling last week. Not going to happen this week. Minnesota, one of the best tackling teams. They finished 9th in yards allowed, yards after catch allowed. It's like something like 1.6 yards after first contact. It's some crazy number. They tackle. They're a good tackling team.
Take away your tight ends, your running backs. Tells me Nick Foles is going to have security blankets. To
it's interesting that they tackle, but the Saints don't tackle.
Yes, and that's why the Saints are not playing this week.
Are in the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
I think they're the Eagles.
There you go.
They're going. They're bringing it home. I like that.
All right, so
over and under.
Before that, I just want to do just one quick. The look-ahead lines are out. So what are we all? I think we're all in agreement. It's going to be Patriots-Vikings.
I think it'll be Jaguars-Vikings.
Okay, so Jaguars-Vikings.
Convince yourself to an outright win.
Jaguars-Vikings. Jeez Louise. The Vikings would be 5.5-point favorites in that game. And Patriots-Vikings game, as it stands right now, the Patriots would be 2.5-point favorites. So
see, going back to the Pats Jags game,
too.
I think the Jags are a tougher matchup than the Pats and the Steelers would have been.
I agree. In hindsight,
the Patriots are in the Steelers' heads so much. It's just
I think we probably can all agree though that whatever the Super Bowl matchup is, it's much more entertaining if the Vikings are in it as opposed to the Eagles being in it.
Yes, we talked about that the other day. Especially because of the storyline.
Even if the Patriots lose, I can buy into a Jaguars-Vikings Super Bowl.
But Patriots-Eagles would be good. Rematch.
The Minnesota thing makes it even more interesting too. So
Patriots-Vikings
is the way it's supposed. And all this crap that has happened throughout the regular season and now into the playoffs, just all these wacky crap. It's like it almost never happened because I think at the end of the day that's the best team in the AFC and the best team in the NFC.
Is this the wackiest season of our lifetime?
Yeah. I mean, I guess. I don't know.
Until next year. And then we say
of our lifetime. Like, we've lived how many X number of years?
I haven't really paid attention to the wackiness of it, but yeah, I would imagine that.
You usually have, like, Hall of Fame quarterbacks, like at least 3 of them in the Final Four. I guess the year when Kaepernick and Flacco met in the Super Bowl.
That's true.
That was a wacky year.
And they had to get through. Didn't they beat Tebow's Broncos and the Ravens? Didn't they beat?
No,
they beat it. Was that still?
That was the year after. That was the year after.
Okay. Anyway,
Patriots-Giants was the Tebow year.
All right, let's do totals. We'll start with the AFC Championship game. We have it set at, let's see right now, 46.5 points. Andre, do you have any opinion on this?
I told you guys before, I hate over-unders, so we got to do something to fill up our nice L bar over here.
We should probably just fix the L bar issue then.
No, but I look at this game. I'm going to go over. I think there'll be a lot of points in this game.
Okay. That's
defensive touchdowns, and there'll be some turnovers. And when there's turnovers, you get good field position. When you get good field position, you get points. That's my reasoning on this.
I'll take the under. I think the Patriots defense is going to show up as well, make this a low-scored affair. And like I said, I think the Patriots, the way to beat them is to kind of have those dinks and dunks, some little short yardage. That's going to keep the clock moving. So I just think that clock's going to constantly keep going. I
also think there's a chance if the Patriots blow out this game, it can be like 45-3, and the Patriots themselves will cover the over-under.
I'm seeing like a 24-13 type of game.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the under as well. I picked the Jaguars to cover the spread, so that means I think the Jaguars defense is going to do some damage. I think it's probably going to be a lower scoring game. I also think if the Jaguars are going to cover, they're probably running the ball a little bit more as well. That's going to eat up the clock, kind of the same point that you were mentioning. So I have a feeling that the Jaguars are going to keep this close, and if I think the Jaguars are going to keep it close, I got to imagine it's going to be a low scoring game. So
Patriots defense makes a big play in this one.
Probably.
Game-changing play late in the game.
Blake Bortles.
Shift the tide.
All right, NFC Championship.
38.
Total set at 38 right now as it stands. I did mention this earlier. The weather about the same in Philly this week. Could be about 50 and light breeze. Quite comfortable.
27-17 Vikings wins. I think I'm going to take the over on that game. Yeah, I think they'll just blow us by surprise. I think last week you had the Jags and the Steelers. You combined for what, 87 points?
Yeah, that's true.
It's that kind of situation.
Although the Eagles and the Falcons combined for 25 points. So.
Correct.
I think that's how this game's going to go. I think it's going to be a little similar to that. I'm taking the under. Yeah. Even as low as that total is, I just think this is the type of game where points are going to be at a premium. I can't see the Eagles really scoring that many points. I'm thinking like a 17-9 type of game. Like, I mean, I don't know if the Eagles get in the end zone.
Starting to convince me the other way now. I'm still going to stick with the over.
I'm taking the under as well. 14-10, 17-10, 17-13 type of game.
That's what everyone thinks it's going to be. So it's going to be
I know. Yeah, whatever.
See, I took with the opposite of everyone's going to think.
Yeah, that's a good way to go.
Over under.
It's an exceptional way to live life.
Yeah.
Just go against your own judgment.
Not all the time. I think over-unders, though, is the best way to do it.
I hate, like you said, I'm with you. I hate doing over on
Man, they suck.
For the sake of the L bar.
It sucks even more taking unders because the over's never dead, but the under very much could be dead by the second. I mean, look at that.
It's also an element of
the Pittsburgh-Jacksonville game. That one must have been dead by the end of the first quarter.
I hate betting on the under too because it's just rooting for punts.
Yeah. Exactly.
I
hate over-unders.
That's why there's probably value.
Everybody doesn't want punts. It's Tom's Morstead.
Yeah,
I don't think he can handle another punt.
He's courageous hero. All right,
show and tell.
Because of the L bar, we have to do show and tell again.
Yeah, I like show and tell.
Go ahead, Andre.
All right, I brought a clock, and I think you know why I brought a clock. And I think everyone knows why I brought a clock. Because Mike Tomlin does not know how to manage this. Okay, I gotta ask both of you guys something. Why is it? A lot of coaches do this. I'm not gonna point this at Mike Tomlin. This is why I brought a clock. Why is it that when a team is trailing with a little over 2 minutes to go, and when they have 3 timeouts, they always let the clock run to the 2-minute warning before using their first timeout? I've seen this happen so many times. It drives me nuts.
It bit them in the ass too.
Yeah.
It cost them because they
could have had what 50, at least 10 seconds just from that.
That would have helped them after they scored that touchdown. They would have had a chance to at least kick the onside kick, recover it with like a second or 2 left. They would have had at least one more play, at least one.
Another thing, NFL coaches, when you're down by 10, 2 possessions, why don't you kick the field goal when you get into field goal range first, and then go for the
touchdown? At least a play or 2 into the end zone, you don't get it, kick it. They dicked around a lot there down by the in the red zone there.
And this isn't only Mike Tomlin. A lot of coaches put the 2-minute warning. Yeah.
Because it feels like such an old school line of logic to be like,
Bill Parcells,
take a timeout before the 2-minute warning. Are you nuts? And it's like, but why? Stupid. So I want to see that. I want to see somebody do a deeper dive into that.
Maybe I'll do an off-season analysis.
Please do that.
I'm going to dive in.
You're always whipping up your line graphs over there and such.
I will do that. New Year's resolution 2018.
Compilation.
It's so stupid. It's very stupid. Like, I coach in Madden. I would have won that game as a Madden head coach. Yeah. I am grossly underpaid compared to Mike Tomlin. I could have done a better job coaching that last 2.5 minutes.
Okay, Bill Simmons.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he loves comparing everything to Madden. Like that's some sort of. I don't disagree with you.
I didn't see his tweet.
It's just Madden. But yeah, sure. You should.
Maya?
I'm not on Twitter.
Send in your resume for. I do it in Madden, so I'm on this job. Yeah, you're up.
I brought a football.
Wow, that is really going out on
old football.
But this isn't my show and tell item. I just wanted to show off this old school football that I bought the other day because I think it's pretty badass. My show and tell item. See, we did the fortune cookies a few weeks ago.
You bring this every week.
I maybe brought one too. But we did fortune cookies a few weeks ago. We all had great fortunes, by the way. I don't know if really they've come to fruition just yet, but it's a marathon, not a sprint. So hopefully we'll get there.
January 16th.
So I'm just gonna look into this this magic 8-ball. It's not really an 8-ball, but it functions as a magic 8-ball. It also seems like it's falling apart, so we'll see what we got going on here. But I want to ask it, is Josh McDaniels going to regret taking the Colts job over a job maybe like, I don't know, the Titans job? The team they just kicked their ass, so we'll look into it. We'll see if he's going to regret the Colts job. And it says, like I said, falling apart. No doubt about it. So working for Jim Irsay is not gonna lead him to the promised land. It's a tough one for Josh McDaniels. You get canned from 2 head coaching jobs, you're screwed. So good luck to him. But trust me,
you better hope Andrew Luck's healthy.
Yeah, that's a big if. One of the more underrated storylines of this season, I still think that coming into this year.
Nobody talked about it.
Nobody talked about it. Guy missed the entire season.
He wasn't even throwing.
He was supposed to.
He barely lifted anything up.
Yeah. You go to Andrew Luck's house, everything's at eye level, so he doesn't have to lift up.
One of those grabbing.
Yeah, he's on pictures. All right, I got a coconut. I got a coconut because you want to win the playoffs. You want to go to the Super Bowl. You want to go to the Super Bowl as the Jacksonville Jaguars. You got to coach with coconuts. You got to have your coconuts. You got a little coconut fortitude. Doug Marone, you got to come out this week and you got to take some chances. You got to do an onside kick. You got to go for it on 4th down. I don't give a damn that Blake Bortles is your quarterback. You got to throw the ball deep at some point.
I don't agree with this. Trust your defense. No, the best in the league.
That's my point. That's kind of my point. Take a shot deep. if you're around midfield, take a shot downfield.
Okay,
What's the worst that can happen? It gets intercepted and the Patriots have the ball at the 6-yard line. You tell your defense, go get us the ball back. God damn, how frustrating.
But you said when the Patriots win the turnover battle, they're undefeated.
I know, fine, whatever. But, like, it's just, I go back and watch that Saturday night game or think about that game. It's like the Titans, you can't go into Foxborough and coach scared. And the Titans didn't take any chances downfield. They didn't do anything that really set them apart. They didn't take any chances. Before you know it, you're down 21-7, whatever. It's over. You're done. Jacksonville, nobody expects you to be here. Nobody thinks you have a chance of winning this game. Well, except for us and probably a lot of people. It's going to be a cliche pick by the end of the week anyway. But ignore them. Listen to Tom Brady saying how great you are. He doesn't actually believe it if you ask what's his face. So that was a great job by me. What's his face? Just go down there. Put your coconuts on the table and say, we're winning this damn game.
The Jaguars, Keelan Cole in the preseason game between the Jags and the Patriots with the
Cousin
Jaguars.
Keelan. Love Keelan Cole.
Cousin Keelan Cole, your cousin.
Yeah.
97-yard touchdown reception in that game. So I like it.
The homie.
97
The homie Cousin Keelan. Cuzzo. Take some chances.
Another cousin, Garrett Cole, went to the.
I know.
Where's he? And the Astros now?
Yeah.
You're a very risk-averse guy, I would say.
Yeah.
So take this to heart.
Yeah, exactly.
You're letting your hair down.
What's the worst that could happen? You get your ass kicked by the New England Patriots in the AFC Championship game.
Not
Great.
like it's happened to anyone.
Join everybody else in the list. Have a little coconut fortitude. Go take them out.
All right, let's wrap this up.
That's it. I'm going to go get a dustbuster and take care of this.
Yeah, a lot of coconut residue.
Yeah, we'll be back at some point. Maybe don't put them on the table, at least if the table's covered in felt.
Go have a couple pina coladas.
Yeah, we're going to go open this up and drink some nice, delicious drinks out of it. We'll be back in next week or the week after. Maybe we'll do a show next week. Maybe Pro Bowl, yeah. We'll come back and really dissect the Pro Bowl. Tendencies and everything. That's it for the SpreadNothing.com's Football Picks podcast. Enjoy the games this week. Hopefully they don't suck. And try to win some money. Use your coconuts. See you later.